channel. My name is Patrick Lorienti. I'm a licensed real estate broker here in Colorado, and we are going to do a update on the Denver metro real estate market. So not just central Denver, but all the surrounding areas, the 7 major counties here in Colorado making up the Denver metro. And there's going to be a thread that I'm going to pull in this video about where I see the most concern for our market. And by concern, I think most of you can gather the concern in terms of us being in a downtrending market, which hasn't really happened for quite some time. But I'm starting to see some trends that build somewhat of a narrative and tell a story that maybe this is the year, maybe. Now, there's some promise here, and if you've been a part of my channel, we did a live on the Denver metro real estate market maybe 3 weeks ago where I talked a little bit about this and where the promise is. And not just promise, but some really exciting things for the market. But today we're going to be pessimistic. Generally, I tend to kind of operate that way when looking at markets, just because I like to kind of poke holes in everything I hear and everything I see to really figure out, is this true, right? The promise, the optimism, like where's this coming from? Why? What other angles aren't you looking at? So be ready. We're going on a journey today. And with this information, I like to think that I talk about it in a way that you can actually use it to your benefit when making smart real estate decisions whenever it comes time to sell, buy, or invest, not just in Colorado, but everywhere. It's really, really great insight for those of you who are potentially going to be into the market, or if you just want to learn about the market and know it and stay up to date, this is the channel. Now, I would highly recommend you subscribe. We do these every Wednesday. We do another market update on Tuesdays, and then we have another video come out on Friday. And the aside from statistics that we're going to get into, we've got some fairly concerning things that are causing a lot of contracts to fall through that you probably have not heard of yet. So maybe I should have led with that. I think that's a little more hooky. But nonetheless, let's dive in. First things first, weekly market update brief. Let's get into this. I want to show you guys what we're looking at here. And as the show goes on, if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. I got my chat right up here. I'd much rather do live videos where I'm answering your questions instead of just going through data. So by all means, throw in your questions here. And secondly, let me know where you're joining from. I would love to hear it. We're going to shrink my picture a little bit so you can see the charts. We're going to read through this report. We're going to go through contract fallout clauses that we're seeing. And again, this is one where you're probably not privy to this information. It's very, very condensed, and not a lot of people have access to it. But this is like the reality of the Denver market today. And then last but not least, we'll get into some stats, and I'm going to show you the current state of the market and where I see the biggest concern being, which might be covered in some of this report here. So weekly market update brief, January 28th. Thank you to my broker. It's Colorado Home Realty. Really, really high level market analysis comes out every single week. So I use this report along with a couple other reports to really found my understanding of the market so I can help my clients make the best decisions possible. Inventory sits 47% higher than this time last year. Not a surprise, because the end of last year, we were about the same in inventory. While days on market has dropped by 36% since January 1st, year-to-date home showings are only slightly below the 2 busiest years in Colorado and U.S. real estate history, 21 and 2022. This strong showing activity is already translating into more contracts, making 2025 year-to-date the 3rd highest in the last 15 years. So it's showing all these numbers, these graphs, and this is the amount of contracts we've seen in the first 4 weeks of 3 to 4 weeks of January. Now, this is January 28th, so the first 4 weeks of January. That's promising. The showing activity, that's promising. What's not promising is this inventory. Hint, hint. We'll get into that shortly. Despite these shifts, one theme persists. Buyers remain picky and are taking their time. To be competitive, sellers must prepare homes meticulously, price diligently, stay responsive to market feedback, and exercise patience. Guys, look, please hear me out. Representation matters. If you're selling your home, it is so vitally important you get a high-level professional. I'm sorry, but we're just past the days where you can take iPhone pictures and set a sign in the yard and sell your client's house for like $100,000 more. Like, it just doesn't exist anymore. You have to be high level at what you do in order to, as a real estate agent, competently advise and consult you guys, the sellers, the buyers, to be in the best position possible. It's so easy in today's market to miss the mark. It really is. Whereas, in previous markets, like, you could miss the mark 10 times and still hit a bullseye. Like, it was just easy market. Nowadays, guys, it's different, rightly so. And you know what? I'm glad it is, because I work my arse off, and now I feel good about, getting paid for it. When it was an easy market, it's not that I didn't feel good to get paid for it, because I still think I provided world-class service. But man, I just want you guys to understand, representation matters, and having a high-level professional can make or break it for you in 2025. Current market conditions. Back here, at present, 53% of properties are experiencing a price reduction, up from about 45% this time last year. Wow. Okay. So that's, I guess it's not all that interesting. So this is saying that 45% more properties, so 53% of all properties are experiencing a price reduction, and that's up 45% from the same time last year. That is a condition of inventory, or I should say that's a cause of the supply and demand ratio. While we expect fewer price reductions in the coming weeks, it's wise to temper expectations. Higher inventory and interest rates continue to give buyers a competitive edge, though we anticipate this market dynamic will shift in the coming weeks. This is where, if you're live with me, I can actually answer this question. But if I answered every question and got into every little sentence here, we'd be on here for a long time. But guys, 53% of properties experiencing price reduction. Awesome for buyers, not awesome for sellers. But guys, I think that's definitely a function of pricing relative to condition. And all of this, I read you, having a high-level professional. Currently, 71% of properties are selling below their original asking price, compared to 65% at the same time last year. Function of inventory. Remember, this is a lag measurement based on contracts signed 25 to 40 days ago. So we can expect this figure to shift as the market heats up. Yeah, that's December stats, the slowest time of year to buy a house. Inventory climbed slightly this week with 1,006 new listings, only 7% below the busiest year in Colorado history, 2021. We ended the week with 7,179 homes for sale, up from 4,800 1 year ago. That's a substantial increase. And I'll just show you. These lines represent inventory in the market. That substantial increase is right here. This is 2025. This is 2024. So yeah, we got a lot of inventory. Prices dipped for the second week in a row, ending last week at an average of $661,000 in the Denver metro market. This is typical for early in the years. Price data also lags, reflecting properties that went under contract late December. Expect sold prices to start rising and continue through early May before following their usual gradual decline. If you look at all these charts right here, all of them start with a downward descent. The only one that really didn't is this year. But it followed suit in terms of chart trends. But we're up. Average sales price 2025 Denver Metro is actually up from all the previous 5 years, which is great. Days on market reached a 13-year high of 71 days, meaning if you put a sign in the yard, on average, it's going to take you 71 days to sell your house. But it has since dropped to 52 days. The decline is partly due to some listings being removed, instead increased buyer activity, and new listings pulling the average down. However, if inventory remains elevated and interest rates stay higher, hint, I'm giving you a peek in the window of what we're going to talk about later as to where I see the concern for the Denver metro market. Guys, I don't do just these clickbaity like thumbnails and titles without a reason. I don't like that. I have to do some of it because how else are you going to click on my channel? But it's almost always backed by a response and legitimacy. Like, I'm not just going to say, oh my God, the market's crashing, and then proceed to say nothing about the market crashing. And I'm not saying that's what we're doing today, but like, just know, guys, we're talking the truth. I'm talking real on these videos. So I hope you enjoy. However, if inventory remains elevated, interest rates stay higher, days on market likely won't dip below 30 compared to a low of 23 days last year. I would agree. Many variables are at play in our economy, financial markets, and government policies. Markets appear enthusiastic about new administration, and buyer activity remains incredibly strong. That is true. Although the outlook is hopeful, the true economic impact is still unclear, especially when it comes to interest rates. Interest rates will drive buyer decisiveness. A 30-year fixed mortgage rate has risen by a full percentage point in the last 120 days. Gross. Goodness. Causing buyers to take more time and demand more favorable terms. We anticipate a traditional spring market with sellers regain some leverage from mid-February through late April, but unless rates drop, buyers will remain cautious. Affordability concerns will continue to temper market velocity. Everything that you just heard me say and go over with you in regard to market trends and charts changes if interest rates go down. Like, almost everything. These charts will invert and end up showing a completely different story. And by invert, I mean, they're going to change. You're not going to see this kind of like uncanny similarity between these charts. It might not look like it, but this is similar. This is similar. It's already starting to trend in all the seasonal ways. That would change quite a bit. So again, questions. Let me know what you guys have for me. I would, Dan, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me live. I really had a good time, man. That was a fun time. I'm looking to grow the channel and do some bigger things with you, my friend. All right, guys. Yes, I'm on ChatGPT, but rightly so. Instead of reviewing this by my friend Megan Aller, I just asked ChatGPT to summarize it. Guys, if you haven't followed Megan Aller, now I don't know that you would, because she's more heavily based on real estate side, but she has got some of the greatest statistics, market trend analytics, and outlooks on the market than anyone. So everything she does, we hold in high regard and take very seriously, because she puts a lot of time into helping us agents know what's happening in the market. So this is thanks to Megan Aller. If you make it here, Megan, thank you for all you do. And guys, if you're still with me, please subscribe. About 90% of our viewers on this channel are unsubscribed. I want to change that, guys. I'm looking to grow this long term, not short term. I'm not going to disappear tomorrow. We're going and we're growing, and we're going to take this to new heights. And I can only do that if you guys subscribe to the channel. So please take a second, right on the bottom of your screen, hit that subscribe button, and let me know if you have any questions, comments. Let's go. Guys, before I get into this, let me preface. This is what everyone is not telling you. I'm likely going to do a video just on this stuff. But like, when you're curious about what's happening in the market, there's the analytics that I just did. But then there's like, but what's happening, like boots on the ground? What would we experience if we were in a transaction? Well, here you go. High contract fallout rates. Common reasons transactions fail. In today's market, contract fallout rates have risen significantly, with approximately 35% of properties returning to active status after going under contract, compared to historical rates of 15%. Guys, holy cow. I mean, that's gosh, what would that be? 100x increase of properties falling out of contract? Jesus. And 9 to 10% during pandemic. Wow. This trend reflects broader market conditions rather than individual experiences. Guys, this is saying after a house goes under contract, it's falling through 35% of the time. Why is that happening? Well, inspection disputes, surprise, surprise, earth-shattering, bomb just went off. Like, no one would have expected inspection disputes as being one of the causes. My sarcasm needs a little bit of work, guys, but this one's obvious, but some of the other ones might not be. Buyers and sellers frequently fail to agree on repair requests. A pre-inspection can help sellers identify and fix major issues, but also triggers disclosure obligations if issues are unresolved. Sellers, let's talk about doing a pre-inspection, because there are pros and there are cons. Consult with an experienced inspector, managing broker, and legal counsel if it is advised. Thanks, ChatGPT, for giving us a disclaimer there. Guys, real quick, I know I've said this, but like, I'm a licensed agent here in Colorado. I've been doing this game for 10 years. I like to think I do it at a high level. I've been the top producer at my company for the past 5 years. That just my company. Going back further, it's longer than that. And I don't tell you to brag. I tell you so that you know, like, oh, Patrick's actually doing work. Like, I'm not just good at YouTube. I'm not just good at making videos. Like, I'm actually in the market very frequently. Every single week, every day, I'm in the market. And so with that said, I would really, really love to serve you and encourage you to reach out to me directly to get your questions answered, talk about listing your home, buying your home, investing in property here. And whether you're moving from out of state or you're in state selling and upgrading, I can help you guys. So give me a call, 303-332-1108 is my direct line, 303-332-1108. I should do like one of those like radio voices, you know, on like the commercials or the radio, and it's like, call 303-332-1108. Nonetheless, let's get back into this, guys. But really, call me. I would love to serve you guys. No obligation. As you can see, I'm just passionate about helping people understand the market so that they can make smart real estate decisions. One little note on this inspection disputes. Even though the Captain Obvious over here with inspections, this is happening more frequently than previous markets. Buyers are getting a little bit more aggressive in their inspection disputes. And when they have the inventory to look at other homes, shall this one fall through? Then, like, rightly so. They should be a little bit more picky. They should be a little bit more aggressive in their negotiations. Hopefully there's a collaborative nature between buyers and sellers. And like, ultimately, guys, buyer wants to buy a house, seller wants to sell it. Let's figure it out. But this is probably happening more frequently than not. Number 2, loan availability issues. Buyers face last-minute loan denials due to financing complications. This also is on the rise. Working with reputable local lenders helps guide you through the process and avoid missteps that impact approval. Guys, I'm dead nuts when I tell you this. I have a lending partner who is absolutely world-class at what they do. And I'm not just saying that. I really mean it. When I started with this lending partner about 3 years ago, my lending problems stopped. About every year, I would have a buyer, probably about 2-3 times a year. To have a buyer where we get pre-qualified and we go out to search for a home and we get it under contract, and it's a nightmare getting through the loan process. Buyers were upset. Some fell through, hence what we're talking about. And it just made for a terrible experience. And every so often, it is absolutely the buyer's fault. But most of the time, it's the lender's fault. And it might not be their fault in that they're incompetent or they're not a good lender, but it's their fault that they didn't set proper expectations and saying, hey, buyer, look, I got you pre-qualified, and just know there's a mountain that we got to climb over. And here's the mountain. And we've got a chance of falling down that mountain or getting over it. And here's the plan. But I just want you to be set up for success and knowing that if we can't overcome XYZ, which is out of my control, then this could fall through. Do you want to move forward, or do you want to wait until we have these things addressed? Right, guys, I'm like, hire me as a coach. Come on, that language. Tell me not. Would you not have a great experience with somebody who's setting expectations like that? Nonetheless, when we go into loan issues, I stopped having those problems. I have an incredible lending partner because we want to provide world-class experience to you guys, and that goes beyond just the realtor. So, nonetheless, number 3, rising home ownership insurance costs. Oh, and let me just give a quick shout out. The rate update, Dan Frio, he commented, go take a look at the chat. Dan is a lender I recently connected with. Dan and I haven't done any deals. He's not the lender partner I'm referring to, but go follow his channel. Dan does the rate update, which is not just rates, but it's really good analytics in regard to the economy and rates. And Dan can lend. And Dan, if you're still here with me, I think it's all 50 states. Go verify with Dan. But if you're not in Colorado, or even if you are, Dan can help you. But he can help you regardless if you're in the Denver metro market, Colorado market, and at large. Dan's been doing this a long time, guys. Partner with good lending people, high-level professional real estate. And a lot of this could be avoidable. Rising home ownership costs. Guys, you didn't know this, but now you do. Now you do. Rising home ownership costs. Due to Colorado's high-risk classification, premiums are soaring, particularly in the foothills, South Denver Metro, and hail-prone areas. Buyers should prioritize insurance deadlines to avoid unexpected costs or potential inability to obtain coverage. Insurance claim history should be reviewed for potential risk and disclosure obligations. I don't know why I had to go that fast, but I think the reality is we got to mix this up, the entertainment value, because who's having fun reading this with me, right? Like, I have to put some personality into here. The reality is, guys, homeowner insurance, it's expensive. Here's what you didn't know, though. You've got a section in the contract that is for you to be able to shop for your insurance premium, and if it is unsatisfactory to you, meaning, like, if you can get coverage, but you don't like the premiums and it's just too high for you, there's a mechanism in the contract for you to exit and terminate that agreement and not be at default and be able to keep your earnest money and ultimately be protected. So there you go. We're dropping gold nuggets today. On we go. Backtrack real quick. They're saying, homeowners insurance, it is high. It is affecting loan availability because, if you expected to go into this thinking homeowners insurance would be $200 and it's, ends up being $400 a month, that's a big difference in payment, or $500 or $700 a month, right? So that's some deals are falling through because of that. Condo and HOA fee increases. Boy, oh boy. I don't even want to talk about this, guys. I just want to run and, hide from this video when it comes to condo and HOA fees. Just gross. Higher insurance costs for HOAs have led to increased dues and special assessments, which can deter buyers. Agents should secure HOA documents early using services like HOA. I don't care about this for the purpose of this video. But condo and HOA fee increases. Yes, that's a thing. More of a thing than I'd like it to be. It's not great. It happens. And it's happened more. I don't have the stats on this, but I'm almost certain that the amount of increases for HOAs over the last, call it 5 years, has probably been greater than that of the last 10 to 20 years. Or maybe I'm completely wrong. Definitely the past 10 years. I'm just going kind of based off experience. Again, I don't have stats on this, but the reality is that there has been big HOA fee increases, more so from condos and townhomes than houses. Houses in HOAs tend to go up. It doesn't everything. But the big increases are typically found in condos and townhomes. So the good thing is, hopefully we're done and we're past the age of massive increases in HOAs. I have a buddy, he moved into a townhome, absolutely loved it. And his HOA fee within a year jacked up by, I want to say it was like $150 to $200. Like that's a monthly payment, guys. Jesus, goodness gracious. You shouldn't have to worry about that, but it is the reality. So, yeah, hire HOAs. It exists. Have a high-level professional with you. I'll counsel you and guide you and consult you through this potential mess. But ultimately, just going into it, knowing and having the expectation that, hey, here's your HOA fee. And yes, they can go up. Any more questions on that? Throw them in the comments, whether you're live or not. We'll get back to you. And guys, just a quick reminder, we're almost finished up with this video. Actually, I am going to get to my problem area with this market and the cause to be concerned from my perspective. But please subscribe to the channel. I want to grow beyond just a random channel in Colorado. Guys, I want to give back. I want to educate. I want to help people make the best possible decisions they can because they're educated in a high level way, but that's articulated in a way anyone can understand. And then from that articulation, be able to go make decisions based off of it. So nonetheless, subscribe to the channel. Let's go. Number 5, title issues and undisclosed liens. Oh, this is interesting, guys. I'm sorry, but I guess I'm not sorry. I didn't expect this. I didn't get to number 5. I just skimmed through this like we all do with papers and summaries, etc. I didn't actually see this one. Some sellers have multiple undisclosed loans, often due to forbearance agreements. I got it. From 2020, 2023. Title commitment reviews sometimes reveal additional liens impacting seller proceeds and requiring contract renegotiation. Ordering O&E, owners and encumbrance report for $5 can prevent major surprises. Not getting into that for the purpose of this, but yeah, undisclosed liens. What I have seen is a lot of people taking out HELOCs. I do know people that have been through forbearance. Like all that stuff is, it looks like it's coming to a head. You don't see it often, but it can happen. Best practices for reducing fallout risk. Encourage pre-inspections. Get with me on that. There's more to that. Work with the trusted lender. Absolutely. Advise buyers to review insurance quotes early in process. Yep. Guys, I've got great insurance people. Absolutely amazing insurance people. Because here's the problem, is when you go in insurance, when you're in a market where the premiums are high, you see the dollar amount and you're like, well, no, that's too high. Let's get lower. And then all of a sudden you're uninsured. And what happens with when the hailstorm comes and beats up your roof and you guys are now out $5,000, $10,000 for a roof? Like, you got to get the right coverage. But how do you get the right coverage while also getting the lowest premium? You call me and I'll hook you up with my people. That's what you do. Advise buyers to review insurance quotes. Okay. Obtain HOA documents. And yeah, you can, but part of the big 3. Ryan Jones, what's up, brother? Part of the big 3. What is the big 3? What's the big 3, brother? Obtain HOA documents in advance. I mean, you can, but no. ChatGPT, I just don't think that's the most efficient way of doing this. Always order O&E report before listing a property. Yeah, I think that's fair. This is just saying, hey, as a seller, let's get ahead of any potential liens on the property that you're, Ryan, yes, the big 3, let's go, man. That's something. I mean, it really is, man. I've been just hammering hard at this and, it starts with 0 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 10 and 100. I'm ready, man. I'm here for it. I'm excited to continue to bring value in ways that actually make sense and help people out. So, but sellers ordering an O&E report could get in front of potential, unknown liens on your property. Maybe you went in forbearance and you didn't realize that they put a lien on your house. Ordering an O&E will get ahead of that. 7. All right, let's go. Ryan, man, thanks for commenting. I super appreciate that. Would love to know where you're from. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. All right. The moment you've all been waiting for, all of you who've been on this for the last 30 minutes, I don't know, is the concern that I have for Denver market. Guys, I tend to be pessimistic with my outlook on the market. Again, I just like to poke holes. And okay, this economist is saying this, CEO of a brokerage is saying this. Everyone's, has this perspective of the market being in great shape. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to poke holes in everything they just said to ensure I'm looking at every angle so that I can go back and educate my buyers and sellers. And by poke holes, I mean, okay, if you see this market projecting in a positive way, what are the potential ways that could negatively impact the market? And are we not looking at something, right? And so one of the things that is a concern for me, and this is contingent upon rates staying higher for longer. Guys, if we get 5% rates, if we get rates in the fives, I think all hell could break loose. Like in a good way, depending on how you look at it. Buyers, obviously the pro would be better rates, but the competition that's going to follow that and the potential price appreciation we're going to incur, like I'd almost rather buy when the competition's low and then refinance later. Now there's so much nuance to that, right? Maybe you can't buy because rates, or maybe you can't buy what you want. And so you actually really are going to wait until rates fall, and there's more of a benefit there than not. Nonetheless, if rates go down, I'm talking like even like low sixes, but if we're seeing a 5 in front of there, guys, if we see a 4 in front of there, I'm out. I'm out. That's the apocalypse of the real estate industry again. It is going to be absolutely bonkers in regard to, like, we have so much pent up demand. I'll show you why I believe that to be true here in a second. That if we get rates in the 4s, it's game over. There will be so many buyers that come out of the woodwork trying to buy homes, and it's almost, in my perspective, going to feel like 2021 and 2022 again, which I don't want. I think a healthy market really is kind of that, mid 5-ish rates. Nonetheless, let's get into it. Inventory. This is the concern here, guys. This graph, and I showed you this earlier in the video, but I want to talk to it a little bit more. This is the concern. Okay, so this is 2025, this yellow orangish line. This red line is 2024. And then, we've got 22, 21, 20. Nonetheless, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So in what I'd really like to show you guys, like pre-pandemic levels. We'll get into that in another video. But here's why I'm concerned. So you see this difference right here. We only had 1,000 listings week 2 of 1,600 in 2022. Well, once rates jumped up right here, you saw inventory jump up because there was less buyer demand, right? Supply and demand. But what was interesting is it was almost exactly the same in 2023. And then all of a sudden, 2024, we're starting out. Yep, we're higher in inventory than 2022, but to be expected, rates are higher. And this trend line's following along. And then all of a sudden it said, no, I'm taking a left instead of a right. And we saw, I want to say it was a 10-year high in inventory right here and here. 11,000 homes, guys. That's a lot. I mean, nowhere near like a 2008. But relative to the market in really the market in the last 4 years, this is a lot of inventory. And you see this big gap between 23 and 24. That's a concern. However, we closed a little bit of the gap here, which is great. And the reason we didn't see the market tank, because you have to think, when we have more inventory than we have buyers buying, that's going to result in a market that's downtrending in value, because you have more homes than you have people buying, right? If you have a limited edition shoe or car or like whatever it might be, and you make 5 of them and you have 100 buyers, those 5 things are going to sell for a lot of money. But if you have 5 buyers for 100 things, 100 items, like forget it. The price has to come down because you don't have the amount of demand. So you need a price so that you can increase your buyer pool from 5 to 10 to 100, right? So this was a concern. The reason the market didn't really crash or have a tremendous amount of impact because of that high inventory is, thankfully, we saw this gap in showing activity. So this was 2023, this gray line, really slow showing activity. Well, right about here, we suspect that buyers said, you know what? Screw these high rates. I need to get into a home. Like I'm sick of being where I'm at. I'm waiting for rates to fall down, but I can't wait any longer. And we jumped to 25,000 showings. I mean, come on. That's a lot of showings. Guys, 25,000 showings. So let me explain this. This graph is total showings. This graph is weekly showings by year. And so if we look at this graph, this is all 2023 behind this trend line, right? This trend line was like 15,000. Is that right? Yeah. But nonetheless, like you could see, there was slow showing activity really when those rates increased in 2022. It dropped drastically. Well, we're seeing showing activity last year, 25,000, right? So that's like in line with the market when rates were like 4%, or I'm sorry, like, yeah, 2 to 3%. In 2021, 25,000 showings, right? Pre-pandemic, we're starting to see that showing activity. So this is good for us. We needed this buyer activity because inventory is so high. And so right off the gates, 2024, we're starting out really, really strong. So here's all of our pent up buyer demand to where if this is where showings are at with 7 to 6% rates, can you imagine how many showings we're getting at like 4 or 5% rates? Again, as promised, I'm going to show you a chart real quick before I wrap this up of why I think there's promise in the market. But this is my concern, guys. My concern, if rates stay higher for longer and inventory rises at this rate, we could see this gap in inventory. And this is like record high inventory for the last 5-10 years. If we see this kind of gap show up in 2025, we're going to have a ton of inventory. And if buyer demand doesn't keep up, we could see one of the first downtrending markets in regard to price that we've seen in a long time. That's my concern. It really is. I think this is a very, very valid concern. If rates stay higher for longer and inventory outpaces where it was at last year, like we could see, I don't think, now, disclaimer, I have no business predicting the future, and that's not what I'm doing here, but I don't think we're going to see a crash by any means. But, you know, we could see a little bit of loss of value. I wouldn't imagine it's anything more than, I don't know, -1% to -3% of value. But like that's the concern, guys. This is the concern. So what do you do with that? Well, as a seller, okay, check this out. You want to sell here, right? You want to sell going into an uptrending market, not a downtrending market. And this is about January to, I don't know, like May-ish, June-ish, it plateaus, and then it's going to go downtrend. Guys, same thing in 2023. Same thing in 2022. Same-ish thing in 2021. You see values appreciating. We had more of a flat line here, but that's because rates were so great. And then 2022 was just, you can't count 2022. It's a pandemic. But that's what you do with that, okay? If you're a seller, the low inventory. This is new listings. You see how the market increases, it plateaus and goes down. Well, you might think, okay, well, wouldn't I list here because there's lower listings? Not necessarily, because it says new listing count. Oh shit, I'm not even showing you guys. I'm not even showing you the charts. Gosh darn it. Okay. Sorry, here we go. Real quick, what I was showing you in 2023. So price into this uptrend of a market. Price into the uptrend of the market. That's where you ideally want to list. Now, this is a graph of new listings. Okay. You see from January going into about mid-year, you see the market increase, plateau, and then fall all the way down. Even though this says new listings, this might as well be buyer activity. Okay. So that's why even if there's more listings here, than here. And it's about the same actually when you look at the graphs. But you want to price into this and listen to this uptrending market because that's where the bulk of the buyer activity is going to be. So that's the charts. Guys, if you're still with me, thank you. Be sure to subscribe. I promise I'm going to show you some charts here real quick. Let me pull those up and then I am out. Got to get a haircut. I've got a listing appointment, a contract to write up. Today is a busy day in real estate. All right. I will find it. Give me a sec. It's not December. Is it December? Guys, what questions do you have, if any? I would say this is probably one of my best videos yet in terms of market analytics. And I hope you're grasping like even just the slightest bit of value from this and like really grasping what I'm laying down here, because it's super great information for you guys to understand the market. No, I can't find it. Guys, I'm going to look for one more second here. Essentially what we're going to show you is there's a graph of the amount of properties being sold relative to the amount of population growth. Yep, here we go. All right, let's do this. So here, let me download this. And we'll go here. Oh, no, that's not the one. Sorry. Da-da-da. Other questions, drop them down below. Whether you're on live or not, we will answer those. Thank you guys for joining. Really excited what we have going on to this channel and what's to come. If you guys are also looking to buy, sell, invest in Colorado or out of state, and you're looking at this video, reach out. Let me help you. Let me put you in the right direction. Let me serve you. 303-332-1108. Let's get into the charts. Boop. All right. So this is population growth, an estimate. It's a conservative estimate of population growth, this orange line. And then the amount of closed real estate transactions. Since 2011, we had more transactions than population. And then all of a sudden in 2021-ish, that chart inverted. And so there's this big gap going on of amount of transactions versus population growth. And so this is promising, right? Because it's showing, okay, we've got a lot of people coming in and that have came in and they need to buy houses, right? And they haven't yet. So there's some promise there. And then right here, as you can see, this is from 2011 to 2025, sold properties year over year. 2023, very slow market. We hadn't had this slow market since 2011. 2024 kind of followed suit. 2025, where are we going to land? Well, if that other chart has any impact and rates improve even in the slightest, we could expect to at minimum be in this ballpark of how many homes have sold. My expectations were a little bit above this. Again, unless rates stay higher for longer, projection would be we're probably flatlining 2023 and 2024. Guys, again, thank you so much for joining. I have a blast doing these. Subscribe to the channel. If you're doing real estate this year, whether it's with me or not, good luck. I hope you guys have a great experience, a world-class experience, and get yourself into the best possible position you can for yourself. If you have a family, for yourself and your family, sending all the love and good vibes for you in 2025. And that is it, guys. Thank you. Cheers. listings, only 7%. No, my name is Patrick Lorienti. I'm a licensed real estate broker here in Colorado, and we are going to do a update on the Denver Metro real estate. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, before. Good morning.
Hey, Duder. Hope you're having a good start to the day. Just getting ready to go hit the gym and then start working on some stuff. Mike, my lunch with my partner there is actually at 1 o'clock at King of Wings in Golden. So I know you say you're showing houses at noon, so maybe we could hop on a call like 12:30 to 1, or we could even maybe do earlier. But yeah, just holler at me, brother. Let me know what you think, and if we need to push it today or maybe even Friday, we could do that, or till next week. Definitely want to get with you and get on the same page. I know we pushed last week, so just kind of tell you what I got going on. All right, man. Later. Hey, Dizzle. I moved my lunch to noon, so I should be pretty available at 1:15. So it's just you do your showing, I'll do my lunch, and then we'll circle back on my call. All right, buddy.
She say, "Hey Denzel." Cool, bro. My showing got moved or canceled, so I'll be in front of the computer, ready to jump on Zoom whenever you are. Just maybe keep me posted, and then we'll go from there.